don't get it.
I'm with you on that. We should be, let me just do a refresh here. Yep, we're up live, fellas. So kick us off, Chauncey.
Right. Hello and welcome to the MCEC Fam Show. I am Chauncey Williams, the coordinator of student success here at MCEC, which stands for Muskegon Community Education Center, the place where the center of your child's education is magnified in the collaborating community. Our focus here at MCEC is community involvement, careers, social emotional learning, and nutrition. What's up, PK? What or who do we have on the agenda today, fam?
Well, I usually try to do a really pithy, interesting introduction, but for Anthony Lambers, I don't think I have the words, the descriptive ability to encapsulate all that he does, all that he says. I know that he's one of my friends on Facebook, and he's one of those people where when I'm scrolling, I stop and take a little look, because what he has to say is usually a very unique voice, a voice from the ethers, for those of you who remember your Old Testament. So I'm just going to say we have Anthony Lambers here, and I think that what he says to us, or how he answers our questions, will be all the description, all the introduction he needs.
Thank you. Hold on, sorry, I had a call coming. All right, I'm back.
Gotcha. So Chauncey, you want to ask our first question?
Yes, it's great that we have Anthony on. I don't know Anthony personally, but I know Anthony's whole story. And that's amazing because he sponsors a scholarship through the Muskegon Community Foundation through the entrepreneurship from Gen X. So he came in and spoke to our students last year, hat to the back, hoodie, pants sagging.
Yeah, I ain't changing the look, baby.
I know, I've been saying, it's like we bringing in some people that's really doing it, that's investing, that's real estate. I seen it come to the door. You had that smile, but I'm not a judge of character by what I see on the outside. So when he opened his mouth, he laid the game out for the kids on how you don't have to fit into a box to be exceptional, to be your own expectation, to live in the abundance that he's living in. Because get me right, I think it's a $50,000 scholarship that you put up for MCC. For
yep, I did.
Yeah. So 50 bands, he's put his money where his mouth is. And also, before I ask his question, he took a house on what street in Muskegon Heights?
I got a couple houses on 8th Street.
Okay, but it's one you doing the Facebook model with it. You taking us through the whole process.
I'm starting one. My plan is to build that one up. If I flip it, I'm going to take the money from that, move it over to the one across the street, build that one up, and I'll end up renting that one. I may end up renting them both. I don't know. My main goal right now is just to take the money that I'm earning through my real estate sales and dump it in these homes. So I tell people that, that whole idea of the box, that whole box is meant to control you for someone else's game, right? When you get outside the box, it's all about your game. It's a good example of it. People don't like to hear, but it's LeVar Ball. LeVar Ball with his kids decided, I don't want the NCAA to make a bunch of money off my kids, off of all the work that I did or helped grow and nourish. And he went outside the box to build his own brand. And when he did that, look how much he got attached. He just got tore out of the frame because he wasn't in the box that everybody wanted him to stay in. And I think what happens is that when we get put into that box, we lose our dreams, we lose our passions, and we lose our creative juices, right? Because now we're just doing what everybody else does. And that's really what society has been. That's why only 3 to 5% of the people are successful in being entrepreneurs, is because most of them won't even get out of that box. So my thought on the properties on 8th Street was that everybody was telling me, don't go to the Heights. Why would you put your money there? It's a lost cause. And I looked at it different. I said, you know what? This is an opportunity for me to buy a house that's cheap, because wherever people don't want to be, they'll sell the stuff cheap so that you come there. And I kind of looked at it like, well, this is a opportunity for me to buy back the block, go in, rehab the house, be able to sell it at a decent price so someone can afford it, make myself a profit. I even wanted to go to, I'm still thinking about it. There's some empty lots around there that I just wanted to buy and put up some real nice basketball courts where I could do some coaching and mentorship in the summertime, some nice parks where it just made the neighborhood look better. Because what I noticed about Muskegon Heights is that the people were great. It's just how it looked, right? The look was kind of the marketable thing of it being the most dangerous place in America, the most dangerous place. And it's just how it looked. But, I've been out in Compton, and Compton neighborhoods look pretty good. And they're the worst, some of the worst in the entire nation.
Trees and everything, the streets.
yeah, so, my thought was, I'm gonna get outside the box and go where nobody's going and try to lay my footing there. My whole idea was to get people in the neighborhood to work on the house, give them an opportunity to work on the house, to earn some money. I felt like if they had any skin in the game on that house, they protect my house. And they have. I mean, I've had those houses now I bought them in March, I think. I haven't had one thing stolen from those houses yet. People are watching out for me. When I first got there, they didn't know what I was doing. They probably used to the typical landlords coming in there and slapping paint on and pushing people through. But I did it right. And then when people came up to talk to me, I would talk to them and I would tell them, yo, this is what I'm doing. I'd be open, transparent, and honest with them. And I think that's helped me be successful over there without having my stuff stolen, without having my stuff burned down or vandalized. So yeah. And that's all about that getting out of the box. If I would have stayed where everyone else said, I'd be looking for houses in North Shores that are too expensive. I'd be everywhere else and my margins would stay small. I have opportunity for big margins now because I took a shot outside that box where nobody else would.
Wow. So here's my I want to add to this and ask another question.
Mm-hmm.
Like somebody would say that's a trap house that he got. That's what they would say.
It was.
Yeah, I know it was. So they like, hold up, he's going in an area and you're just being to the point of radical, but you got humanity in front of you being radical. Where he's like, I'm about to help this whole community out and show these people how to make a living out of it. But my next question is this: somebody like yourself that thought out the box, that said no college background, but doing it where you helping doctors, lawyers, people buy houses, selling $1 million homes. I'm asking you this question. It's from this book that we have. It's called The Team Parachute, and it's about interviewing people that's in your space that's being successful. Mm-hmm. It says, what 3 to 5 tasks do you do most often? Because somebody like yourself, you're in the habit of doing something that makes you successful. So what's the 3 to 5 things that you do that you can get game to our audience on MCEC Fam?
All right, so This is a good question. And mine is a little different and outside of the box, right? I don't do the typical tasks that a lot of people do. I don't even do to-do lists. Almost every task that I do is mental related. So one thing that I do every single day is I visualize what I want in the way that I want it. In Gen X, Nick Sarnicola is a good example of that because we kind of do the same things together, right? So one thing I do is I throw on some music that inspires me and I walk. And then I just dream about every single thing that I want. I don't make any excuses for it. I don't say, oh, well, this dream is too big or I'm wasting time. When I was in high school, something that I did was daydream a lot. And I always got in trouble for it. But here's the deal. Where I'm at today is exactly what I was daydreaming about. It happened. And they were trying to push me away from dreaming. This is bad. This is bad. You're right. It probably is bad for the person that needs to knock these books out because they want to be a doctor and they need to focus. But what I was trying to do is create the life in my head of what I wanted. So every day, no matter what, I go on a walk and I put my headphones on. I'm my best DJ and I just go over everything. I go as deep as to what I'm going to wear when I'm giving an acceptance speech of an award. I think about what car I'm going to be driving, how me and my kid are going to be jumping on flights and going to all the destinations we want to go to. The next thing that I do is I really start to think about, okay, well, those are the things that I want. Now, how am I going to get it? And then I have to be confident in how I'm going to get it. So I'll say, okay, well, I'm going to get mine through real estate. And this is what I'm going to do. I need to sell 10 houses by January 15th, and that will make me this amount of money. And what are the things I got to do? Well, I got to reach out to this many people. So then the next thing that I'll do is I'll go and I'll say, okay, I got my dream. I got my vision. Now I have to go after it. And what is the method I'm going to do that? And that method for me changes all the time. I'm never like stuck in a box to where I got to do the same method of marketing, the same method of looking for business. It changes as I change. You got to be able to flow. We're energy. We have to flow with it, man. You can't just be stuck in one thing and expect all these great things to happen. If you don't feel like doing this day, what's another? Here's something that I talked to some of my sales friends about is that sometimes when you just show up to the office, you ain't even got to do shit, man. You can just show up to the office, and the energy of you getting in the car and going to the office will get the phone to ring. If you don't do this, so sometimes it's like, I'm like anybody else. I got months where I don't have very much business coming in. COVID was a tough thing for me, but I would just show up to the office. You know, I just drive in, man, mess around in my office a little bit, because what it would do is it would create the thought of being productive. And if the thought process of being productive happens, then all of a sudden that law of attraction starts to come to you, right? And those good things happen. Another thing that I do, and it's part of the walking, is you have to do something physical to get the blood moving. And that doesn't mean you got to be some super duper workout freak that sits in the gym for 3 hours a day. That's wasteful in my opinion. But I do go on walks, and I will go to the gym, and I'll pump just a little bit of weights to get my blood flowing so that my brain is moving, so I'm positive. It's the positivity thing. That's why I say it's hard for me to say what a task is, because all my tasks are mental. The other thing that I do is I make sure that every single day I'm ready for adversity, right? And then I also visualize how I'm going to handle adversity. And for example, last week I had a situation with a person who was attacking me online, racially motivated, and it really got me going, right? I was upset because I felt like I've worked my ass off to get to where I'm at. How could this happen to me, right? And then I noticed, when I thought about that, a whole bunch of negative things started happening around. Small things, light bulbs went out in both my kids' room. Now I got to run in the store. Oh, my gas is on the, I ran out of gas. All these little things started happening. And I just said, you know what? It's one person saying a couple things. I have all this other stuff going on. I got to be able to reevaluate what's going on, get back to my high energy flow. And then all of a sudden the phone rang. Somebody wanted to buy a house, and boom, I'm back going again. I think as a teen, I struggled with that, because it's like when things went bad, it's like they say, when it rains, it pours. The reason for that is because there's high energy and there's low energy. It's easy to drop down to the low energy plane. And the longer that you stay down there, the more you get the things that exist on a low energy plane. So you have to be conscious and aware of that and jump back up, because when you're up here on this energy length wave, the longer you stay there, the same thing happens. When it rains, it pours, but it's pouring good things, right? So I think exercising your awareness is a task that I do every day, just to be aware that I'm not perfect. I'm human. I will fluctuate between energy levels like anybody else will. But if I'm aware of it, then I can make those conscious decisions to get back on the energy wave that I need to be on. So that probably doesn't answer your question perfect, but that's because I don't do a to-do list of making a certain amount of calls, or some days I don't want to make calls. So I'll find something else to do. That's sometimes just the dreaming in itself, allowing yourself the freedom to dream, is the production.
Yeah, I'm gonna share this with you. What you just shared is the process of working on yourself and working on a job. And see, a lot of people block that. Like, they don't think how they can develop themselves, because you got ways on how you deal with the mental. I call it working on yourself. You work more on yourself. You don't have to work on your job. Your job look easy, but it could be a tough situation. But your mindset is in a different space as you in those areas. So I truly appreciate this. So I'm gonna ask you this question, because you coming from a lot of context. I do a lot of reading. I'm crazy about reading.
Yeah, me too, man.
Like that. So throw out a book for the audience. Throw out a book. What's the last book or text or podcast or something you tapping into?
The last book I read, it was Giants. And what it was is, it was about, I can't even think of the author's name on that, but it was Giants. I'll send you that book. But what it is it was basically saying, what were the common things that highly successful people who really were like built their success, not people who got, AJ's going to get a trust fund from me, right? It's going to be different for him than it is for me to actually come from the mud and get it. So this book was about people who came from the mud and got it in their common traits. And being a visionary was one of them. The dreaming was another one. The exercise was another one. Another one that I noticed in that book that spoke volumes to me was, like, 90% of these successful people listen to the same song on repeat over and over again.
That's what it's called.
I always did that, and I always wondered, man, why am I stuck on the song? Should I be people telling me, oh, you listening to the same shit? The reason that is because it allows you a constant flow of the dream that you're currently dreaming. And if you switch songs, it shifts that thought, because the emotion in it is different, right?
Hey man, I can talk. Look, we gotta get on some more questions, but you're on the same page because it goes back to that vibration. The music has a radiate, and I do that in the mornings too. I listen to I Am Energy, and the God tells me I am, because I am is the presence of God. So every time I'm in my I am, if I am happy, I am grateful, I am thankful, I am loving, I am caring. But then the tone is back there. I listen to that every morning. So
Yep.
with you, we gotta go to the rest of the show, but. Like I said, when you spoke last year, I was tuned all the way in. I know what you do. I appreciate your style, your swag, how you uplift your son, because that's a space that a lot of our kids don't have their dad around. And
Right.
I had mine. So I'm like, when I see you interacting with your son, he getting the cheat code when it comes to being developed.
Getting the cheat. That's exactly what it is, man. And you know what? Like, growing up in the 90s, man, most of my friends didn't have their dads. Most of them were locked up in the community I came from, right? Yep. And I noticed, like, so I tell people sometimes me and AJ had really the same athletic ability. We got the same build. I moved like he moved. I jumped like he jumped. He did everything like I do, except I'm really dumping myself into him to support those traits, to grow them. And I was kind of out there trying to develop them on my own. So when people are like, well, AJ's so good at this, he's so good at that, it's because he's got a dad in the picture who's really focusing on something. I knew when AJ was born, he walked at 7 months old. I said, he's an athlete. I know it right now. I have to dump into him what I needed dumped into me. It doesn't mean that my father didn't do his job, but he wasn't in connection with what I needed. And I know that about AJ. 2 years from now, AJ may be like, I want to be a musician. Well, I'm going to dump into him in the musician world. I've never been a musician, but I can get him to concerts. I can get him some coaches. I can do all of that stuff. So the parenting aspect is a big part of it. However, there's a lot of kids whose dads aren't in the picture, and that's a fact. And you can't be a sucker about it either. You got to be able to be like, okay, I don't have a dad. There's no excuse. You still have to make something happen out of yourself. And I think what I'm trying to do is teach to the community that through any adversity you can make. I always say to myself, when things are going really bad, it's not as bad as it was when I was sitting in that jail cell. So I can deal with anything that you throw me out here. Just let me be free. And that's a gratitude and a grateful thing, knowing that my freedom is the number one thing, being alive to breathe. As long as you're breathing, every day you're in the game. You may lose the game today, but if you're breathing tomorrow, you get another shot at it. So I think it's important for the youth to understand that, because they seem to get down on themselves and get depressed on themselves.
We're gonna move the questions around, man. Anthony, you do a great job. You really living that transparent life. You don't hold back nothing. You're the same guy as I see, and you elevating the greater spaces. So who's next, Paul? Thank you, Ant.
Well, you know, I guess I now understand why I feel compelled to listen to Professor Longhair early in the morning, because, you know, got to get the blood moving and the brain thinking outside of the box. Because I can't sit in my office and watch Adventure Time because people think I have a problem. But my question for you is this, Anthony. It's a question we've asked each guest we've had, which is, who is somebody that when you look back, this person had an effect on you that may have contributed to the place or space where you are today?
There you go.
So I have a couple people. I would say, you know, I started that scholarship. The RP scholarship is based off of Rich Pullen, who was a very important person in my life. When I was 13, 14 years old, I was in and out of trouble, beefing with my mom, out of the house a lot, started running the streets. The crack era was big, so I was dabbling in the street corner game. And I really stopped trusting people. I think I was hurt. I had some childhood trauma that kind of bothered me and kept me from being the best me. And Rich Pullen, we call him RP for short, he stepped in and just really was one of those people I could just be transparent with. I think I learned to be transparent and real by dealing with him, because he was someone that would just say, hey, tell me exactly how you feel about what's happening. And I started to do that. And when I got locked up in my late teens, 18, 19, and it would have been really easy for him to walk away from me, and he didn't. And he allowed me to call him collect every day from the jail, and he would just talk to me about all types of stuff. And hold on, people are blowing me up. When I got released, what he did is, when I was in prison, there was so much negativity around me in a box, right? And he kept pumping in just positive stuff. And it wasn't fake positive stuff, like put a smile on your face. It wasn't any of that. It was, man, you got to know that you're somebody. You got to know that, you know, you were put on this planet because you have worth and value. You have to find out what that is. I can't find it for you. You have to do it, but I'm here to support you and talk to you about it. And, you know, he helped me, you know, get my first house, my first car. When things were going bad, it was somebody I could talk to every day. So he really just, I think, gave me confidence that most people lose in the system. And the reason that I'm here today, where I'm at, is because he gave me that confidence, because the system took it from me. When I went to prison, my dreams and my goals and my confidence were all shattered and beat to pieces. It's that thing where you're like, I'm gonna be a thug for life, right? That's all I want to do now. Like setting the bar so low on myself, that's a confidence thing. The other person is my father. He's not my biological father, but he raised me at a young age, and he instilled the work ethic thing. Like, you have to work. You know, if you want to be successful, you're gonna have to work. You know, I knew that if I want to be good at basketball, I had to work. If I want to make any type of money, I had to work. So I think a combination of him and RP really gave me the foundation I needed. And once I found out who I was and was good with who I was able to put their lessons into play. But that didn't happen until later. You know, people always say, well, if RP was so good to you at 13, why'd you go to prison at 18? Because I was still a knucklehead. My brain wasn't matured enough to understand the lessons. But the minute that I calmed down and my brain matured, I was able to take all those lessons and apply them. And that's why we're here today. And you have to think about, like, that $50,000 scholarship. I made sure that was in his name, right? Because it meant so much to me that when I did it started as the RP scholarship, and now it's the Pullen Lambers Memorial Scholarship. And the reason that is I want people to know that he's the lead on it. I'm the back name on it. He led this legacy. I'm pushing this legacy through to make sure that what he gave to me goes to everybody else. And that's kind of the mindset behind that.
The age was what, 13 when this affects, when he stepped in your life, or when you started, we all dibble and dab in the streets or whatever we've come in growing up in these urban cultures. So what was that age when you was like, I'm off the porch, I'm jumping off the porch, I'm doing this? What age were you was like, I'm on my own, I can go on and just...
I think 13. I think 13. At 13, I like I said, me and my mom were kind of at odds, nothing against her. I don't throw my parents under the bus. You know, it was one of those things where, I'm biracial, so I had a white mom growing up in the city, and puberty was happening for me. I was starting to get my shoulders, starting to get my testosterone. I was being treated like a Black in the community. So I kind of started to move to that culture. She didn't understand really how to work with that culture at the time. So I went to the streets. I didn't have it, my father wasn't around when my parents got divorced. It's just me and her. She worked every day. So I would go to the streets to figure out how to be a man. And so the drug dealers were the dudes I was looking up to, and the pimps and the players. Those were the dudes I was looking up to. Not because I wanted to be a bad person or live in a negative light. Those were the people that had nice cars. They had charisma. And I just wanted to be that. So I kind of stepped off the porch at that point, and then it kind of snowballed. And then once I started doing drugs and not coming home, and then, my life just kind of snowballed out. It's that thing. I was on a negative plane, but didn't even know it, So, yeah, I think RP at that time, though, was like the only person, though, that I could go to him and say, hey, man, I'm starving. I ain't got nowhere to stay tonight. He'd open up the school doors for me, let me take a shower in the locker room. He'd go down to the cafeteria and grab food out of the refrigerators and give it to me so I could eat. Yes, it just held me down without criticizing me.
If you don't mind, Anthony, I'm going to give you a question from McKenna Sims, who is an amazing human being. And she she posted on the wall saying, how do you stay so mentally strong to focus on a goal? For example, mine is to go far with basketball, but with day-to-day life things like work, school, family, and social lives, how can the youth learn to balance and keep our cool in hostile situations?
Well, I think the answer to that is whatever you're doing, it better be something you love. Here's a really quick story. I'd be telling these stories, but I had a heart failure issue about 5 years ago, and I went to the hospital, and I'm laying in the hospital bed. And my buddy was the cardiologist, and he said, I can't let you leave. I might have to do open heart surgery on you tomorrow. And I'm looking out the window. My son was 5. He was at school still. And I looked out the window and there was this brick wall outside this window. And I thought to myself, I'm like, man, I'm good with myself as a human being. But if I die tomorrow morning, I didn't do none of the shit I wanted to do. I did what everybody else wanted me to do, or I was reactive to everything that was happening. And that if I got healthy again, I was going to really go after what I love, but I would only go after what I loved. I wouldn't chase anything else. So when I got out, I just kind of where I took off with the scholarship and took off with a bunch of other stuff is because I just knew. So getting the $50,000 to donate for that scholarship, I was truly freaking passionate about that. I wasn't rich. I didn't have 50 grand sitting in an account. I could just cut it and be like, hey, I'm gone with it. I had to go earn it. And there was all types of things that happened. People were stealing from me. People were bad-mouthing me in the community saying I was doing it just for attention. I had people saying I was stealing the money that I was raising and generating. And all these things were like things that I could react to. But in my mind, I knew if I got that 50 grand and my legacy, I wouldn't die just existing. I was going to have something that was going to be here forever. And I love that idea. So I focused on it. And then when I got hit with all these things, it didn't matter as long as I was looking at that dream. So, and I know who she is in the basketball world. I get it. If you love it that much, there really is nothing that can knock you off the path. If you're doing something half-assed, you don't love it. And you got to understand there's going to be things bouncing at you left and right every day. And the mental toughness in that is to say, yo, if I die, am I good with where I'm at in this process? You only got to be on the road. Like if I would have died hunting down that 50,000, I would have been okay because I knew I was on that road when I died. But if I was off that road and died, then I felt like I neglected my dreams, my goals, you know? So I think it's just, do you love it? If you love it, be steadfast in it every day. That's what you should. I think about my goals every day, all day, man. They change, but I'm always in that mode.
Lord have mercy, Anthony. You're preaching it up today. I'm about to catch the Holy Ghost myself over here. Well, do we have any other questions for Anthony that we'd like to ask on this broadcast today?
Yeah, the one thing, first of all, I am truly inspired by the things that you do, by the things that you do for other people. Like you're making your way for you, but I feel like you do a lot of selfless things in a world where it seems like selfish people are the ones that are prevailing. Yeah. And you still go out of your way to do for others. Okay. And I think that's unbelievable. The other thing is that you take your life experiences and you turn them into pieces of the journey that make you who you are. Mm-hmm. You don't use them as excuses to fail. You use them as the reasons that you succeed. Yep. What advice would you have for a young person that's struggling to find their way? Because it took you a minute to find yours.
I could have done it earlier. Yeah, I could have done it earlier. I think that when it comes to that, it's being accountable for who you are, forgiving yourself and being okay with exactly who you are, the way you are, like the way you think and the way you feel, that is you. And the minute that you can embrace that, it makes it easier for you to get to the places that you want to be. Like when I first was getting into real estate, I was working really hard. I wanted to be successful, but I had a couple situations where some agents that were competing with me would tell the clients that I'd been in prison and I'd lose that deal. And then I'd have people say, well, Anthony's doing really good considering he's been in prison or this happened and this happened. There was like this constant roadblock. And believe it or not, I was watching the movie 8 Mile with Eminem, and it was at the end of the movie and he's in this battle rap. And what he did to win is he basically put all his faults and failures out there so that nobody else had anything to say. And I took that approach. I said, you know what? I'm so tired of people throwing my past, or what they think about me in my face and stopping me from getting to where I get. Let me just diffuse this and let me put it out and own myself. Well, in doing that, I kind of realized I was an okay person, right? Like I didn't think that I was that much of a piece of shit that I was being portrayed to be, or that my past was kind of putting on me. I actually found myself in that. And it was one of the most, it was the best thing that's ever happened to me. Whether I'm ever going to be successful in real estate or any of that, I'll always have the fact that I'm good with who I am. So I am okay with telling everybody about, you know, my bad things that have happened to me or bad things that I've done. Like, yeah, I have helped a lot of people along the way. I've hurt a lot of people along the way too, and I forgive myself for that. And I did it for the longest time, and that was my roadblock. So when the youth doesn't get any like type of insight on that, then they kind of just get stuck in that rut until they find something finally pushes them to have to figure that out. Sometimes they never figure it out. And I'm more free now than I've ever been. And that's that thing. Like, do you want to die free or do you want to die living a fraud because of what everybody else thinks about you? Like, nobody else makes mistakes. People make mistakes every day. You know, I made mistakes when I was 18 years old. My way of giving is I was that same giver in that same server back when I was 18. Nothing has changed there. You didn't see it at 18 because I have all these negative blocks in self-pity, self-guilt that wouldn't let that stuff shine out. When you can get rid of that stuff and own who you are and be okay with it, it makes it easier for you to shine that way.
Man, that's great. What I was gonna say, it's a book I'm thinking about. The title's called, I put it in the chat with the live. It says, "Your opinion to me is none of my business."
Mm-hmm.
Basically describing, it talks about enlightening your travel and not even being concerned of what people think, how they're gonna react to it, because you live in it. It's your story, it's your narrative. You're writing it as you go through it. And
it's your movie, right? And you have to live and die with it. So I tell, you know, it took me years, you know, probably till 35 years old to realize, man, you know how many people told me that I couldn't be where I'm at right now? 90% of the people in my life, 95% of the people in my life, when I was doing bad, told me that I couldn't be here right now. They told me I'd go back to prison when I got out. They told me that I wasn't going to make it in real estate, or that I could only sell to Black people in the Heights. They told me that there's no way I could ever live out by Lake Michigan. They told me I could never own a home. When I went to throw a backspin party, they said no one would come. When I wanted to raise 50 grand, they said, you're never going to get it. No, 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 right? Everybody putting ceilings on you, but nobody knows what your inner soul is. Nobody knows exactly how bad you want something. And until I was able to be like, forget everybody's opinion. I don't care. If you want to sit there and worry about me that much, then you ain't never going to get nowhere in your life. And I just kind of look past those people. Actually, when people tell me no, like for instance, I'm rejuvenated now because that person I was talking about that was bashing me online, after I was done being mad, the next morning I woke up and I'm like, I'm about to go show this mother. Like, I'm about to go, you done lit the fuse now, buddy. You really gonna have to hate me now because I'm about to do some magical shit, right? You have to have that type of energy in your soul. So now it's like, it's lit me up. So now a negative situation has become a really positive situation for me of how I utilize the energy that they're giving towards me.
Extreme success is the best revenge.
All the time. And success is different for everybody. Yeah. Like my success isn't being a super, super rich dude. My success is like really being able to leave a legacy of helping behind. My thing is, I'll be honest with you, people will say, well, some of your giving's got to be self-motivated. Absolutely. You think I'm out here to not get anything for myself? It's what am I getting for myself? Are the things that I'm getting for myself helping others, or is it only helping me? I want to be a legend, period. And I got no problem saying that. When I die, I want my name to go on for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years, not because I was rich, but because I cared for other people. That's what I want for my life. And I'm good with that. And if you think that's egotistical and you think that that's self-serving, then F you. You know what I mean? Do what you want to do. But this is what I'm going to do. And I'm actually building it. So when I set that endowment down in that scholarship, an endowment is forever. So I know that 400 years from now, as long as Muskegon Big Reds are around and the Wyoming Wolves are around, there are kids who are getting an education from what I did 400 years back. That's a legend to me. That's what I'm working for.
I want to say this. My parents used to say this all the time. I didn't really understand it till probably like the last 5 years. And my mother used to always say, you reap what you sow. So I used to always like, okay, if I sow this, I get this directly. But you said something earlier. You always had it in you, even when you was doing a negative, because when you was sowing negative, you was getting more negative back.
Exactly.
When you was sowing what you was sowing that's good, now you can't even control the flow that's good that's coming your way.
Well, you won't even see it. And if you don't see it, then you can't you can't grow it. That law of attraction, I had a friend named Rob Garrison, man. He's one of the owners at Michigan Mortgage. When I was about 29 years old, he gave me this disc about the law of attraction. And it just made sense to me. And I'll give you a quick example. When I was in the streets, I would listen to Tupac every day. That was what was in my headphones, right? He's a leader. I love Tupac. But the stuff that I was listening to that he was talking about was all negative. It was prison, gangbanging, dope. Prison, gangbanging, dope. Eventually, what happened to me? Prison, gangbang, dope. When I was in prison, I only had one channel on this TV. I had two channels, but the one show I would watch was called Frasier. It's kind of a corny show, but
yep.
I would look at Frasier and I'd be like, I want those suits. I want that condo. I want that Lexus. I want a nice woman. I want to be comfortable. And I would think about it. I watched it for years while I was in the joint. And then one day I was driving down Seaway and I looked on my arm and I had a nice watch and I had a tie on and I was driving a nice car and I'm like, holy shit, it happened. It's because I thought about it over and over again. So when people say your thoughts determine where you go, they absolutely do. So if you get up every day and you're thinking about all the bad shit that could possibly happen, it's going to happen. But if you get up and think about all the great things that could happen, those will happen. They may not happen on Tuesday. They may not happen at Thursday, but it's all, the minute you think something good, that process happens. It starts right then. The end result may be 4 years down the line. How long can you stay on that energy path to get what you want? So now you got to look at it. I don't have a high school diploma, never graduated. I don't have a college degree. I started with negative $7,000 because when I got out of prison, they charged me for being there. So I started from $7,000. And now I got a scholarship in my name, an endowment that goes on forever, and a successful real estate career. It's all mindset shit. It wasn't any piece of paper or proof of how good I was. It was just a mindset to stay positive and keep going.
I want to, Paul, I just want to thank Brent for getting in touch with you because right on time. We talk to organizations all the time, and we mentioned to them that we got to capture our kids at 13. 14. We can't capture them when they 18, when they
you got to catch them when they 7. I'm working AJ right now, bro. The chances of somebody breaking him down mentally 5 years from now is slim to none. I'm teaching them right now. I tell them the truth right now. I tell them everything, man. I don't say, oh, I can't teach him this until he's 13. I can't teach him this until he's 6. Nah, I'm telling you everything right now because the more that I show you right now, the stronger you're going to be.
Yeah, thank you.
So we've asked you multiple questions, Anthony, and you've done way more than answer them. You've preached over the top of them. Exactly the message we need to be steadily playing and replaying in our school, in our community, and in our state and our country. Now, we probably missed asking you something. Is there anything, because I know you're a busy man and your phone's blowing up and you got to go. Is there something that we missed asking that you'd like to share with our community, with our MCEC fam?
I don't think so. I mean, I think at the end of the day, what I see here is just good people really trying to open up dialogue to get outside that box and think a different way. I think, in 2020 has been, I see this every day on Facebook. 2020 is horrible. Oh my God, it's horrible. Are you breathing, mother? Are you alive? Huh? What you thought you was gonna slide through here and there wasn't gonna be no adversity? Right? And then you watch everybody divide amongst each other. I'm right. All these selfish attitudes. You the smartest person. You got all this shit figured out, but you ain't doing nothing with it. It's like, at what point, man, do you get off of your high horse, get into your soul, get into yourself and figure out who you are? So when I see all these people in 2020 beefing with all the race relations, some of the dumbest shit, so what a waste of time. You know what I mean? And you know what that is? That's like having no self-reflection of yourself and who you are. These people ain't good with themselves, man. Now they arguing over the vaccine. If you want to take it, take it. If you don't. What you got to push your shit on everybody else for, right? Because no one is self-reflecting and looking inside their own soul of what makes them happy. Everybody wants to be right. Everyone wants to be dominant. Everyone wants to win. But everybody's playing a totally different game. The game that I'm playing doesn't match your game or your game or your game. I'm in my own game. Everybody's in their own game. So I think if we really want to make, and here's the thing, in 2020, the true people who suffered the most have been the kids. They're the ones who are suffering the most. They're the ones that are watching the domestic violences go up. They're the ones that aren't being able to play sports. They're the ones that aren't able. We already had our childhood. So what we should be doing right now is teaching them like somebody said the other day, man, our kids' lives are gonna suck. They're gonna all this money they're giving us out. Who cares? We basing everything off of money and taxes now. What are you doing to strengthen your kid right now and teach them how to be tougher, how to be giving, you know? So I think, you know, as far as the community goes, we got to get off of our egos. And we got to start saying, yo, it's okay to help people. That's kind of what I would like to give to people. A guy said to me a couple of weeks ago, you shouldn't be marketing the good that you do. Why? You let me market my sandwich. You let me market a bad relationship. You let me market, you know, videos of people beating on each other and animals getting killed, but I can't market the good stuff in life. That's the problem. Like we got to make giving and being selfish or being unselfish a cool thing. If it's a cool thing, the more people do it, and we'll all just live better lives, in my opinion.
Well, Anthony, I just can't say enough how much we appreciate you willing to take time out of your day to join us, your words, your wisdom, sharing your life story, sharing all these things that I'm hoping I'm not hoping, at least 3 viewers now that we know of have been picking up what you've been laying down. And these may be the very things, the very words that influence their choice in that forked path in the road so that they can achieve their purpose. So appreciate you, my friend. Thank you so much.
I appreciate you too, man. Thank you, guys.
All right. So we're going to move on to our next segment, Anthony. You're welcome to stay and go. I know you're busy. It's your call.
Yeah, but I got to bounce. I got some appointments I got to get to, but I appreciate you, fellas.
All right, my friend. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Anthony.
You know, I'm just going to say this, that if this show represents the Mr. Rogers version of the Muskegon neighborhood, we need to invite that neighbor back about 10 more times.
That's right.
You might need to be on the show.
Yeah.
Like, holy smokes, like that. You know, I've known Anthony, you know, for a couple of years, and we're not super close friends. I met him through a really good friend of mine, Tony Terrell, and he's just comfortable in his skin. He embraces his faults, and he goes out of his way to help other people. And I think that is the most inspirational thing about him, is he wasn't beaten down by life, and he flipped it. And I think that he embodies the idea that it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay not to be perfect. It's okay to be who you are. You know, it's okay to be who you are. Like Chauncey said, you know, he's a pretty successful businessman in the area, and he just is who he is. He doesn't try to fit a mold. He does him very well, and that inspires people. And I'm inspired by it, and I'm really thankful that he was here today.
Yeah, it's just, and a lot of times we don't realize who we have in our community. So, like I said, I met him through a happenstance. I took some kids to a Saturday conference at MCC, just trying to build entrepreneurship, and they had all these guys and these millionaires and suits and all this. Then Ant come through the door. What's up, everybody? What's going on? What's going on? And lay out his story and his portfolio. And then one of our teachers was like, "Oh, I bought some properties from him." One of our teachers at MCEC was like, he helped me buy my first house. So I saw him in a way where I was able to frame it, but I saw him really deliver it again in a different platform, but the same message. And we need people that are not shaken by their testimony, because that's how we are able to lift our students. So you're gonna have to tap in on Anth again, because I see, like Tom says, we have some students that want to be real estate agents. They want to be in that game. And Ant is always with kids because his son is an aspiring athlete. He's coaching teams, he's doing things. And it's always the people, like he said, that are on the sidelines because they got a big butt. Because their butt is an exception on why they can't do it. So they keeping their butt in the stands. He's putting his skin in the game with his money, buying trap houses, making them into homes that people can live in. And for me, talking to Anthony, it's like talking to friends that are not alive today, for me. Because like Paul talked about, coming from that hierarchy and seeing, and sometimes I talk to people and I'm like, man, he reminded me of this person, if this person could have got it right, or if this person is not doing a life sentence. Anthony figured it out at the right time. And sometimes I see people that I grew up with in people like Anthony. I'm like, yes, that's my best friend that figured it out. Even though we don't have that connection, but I see other lives in him. And for the kids that's listening today, that story is 100% real. There's no fiction to what he said. And everything he spit out about the mindset, about the paradigm changing and shifting, is the things that we want you to be able to tap in, especially through our MCEC fam. And we're gonna make sure we connect with him and we get that real estate career path locked in so we can buy back the block, because that's the theme of our fam. So I loved it today. One of the best.
Well, I think for me, the huge thing that I'm taking away, I'm walking away with, and I'm probably gonna get tattooed on my forearm, is that idea about the energy, that wherever your energy level is, it's where you are. And where you are, the longer you're there, the longer the longer you're there, the harder it is to get out of that level. So if you're high, that's good. But if you're low, the longer you stay low is the harder it is to get out. And I think that lesson is a lesson we all have to be reminded of when we turn on our music each day, when we go for a walk, when we get our blood flowing, when we do the things, when we imagine what life is supposed to be, when we imagine and picture our goals. That all starts when we get out of bed. What's that old song, Chauncey, about waking up? Something I need to thank God before I raise my head that I didn't wake up on the
Snoop Dogg or something? I want to thank God.
It's an old school song.
Ice Cube?
No, it's an old church song, and basically it says, "I'm thankful I got up this morning. Now I'm gonna get to work," and there it is. So I think we all know what's coming next.
Yeah, that's right.
It's an unbelievable segue into it. I don't know. Okay, the expectations for this next one's rather low because there's no way I could follow that. So a couple weeks ago, I was a healthy scratch last week, and my family here at MCEC held it down in a big way with Boomtown Market. And I actually went and got one of those monster bologna sandwiches. And I tell you what, it wasn't bad. And I suggest, you try one of those out, especially you ain't had a bologna sandwich in a long time. Come on. Today, though, however, we're gonna keep the paddle rolling down the river here in another local restaurant that we should get out and support. Okay. These they can have no dine-in services right now, and we need to get out and support the people that support us and the people that are depending on us to get some carry out, bring it home to your family, and still enjoy that. So today we are going to spotlight the Pizza and Sub Shop. Now, Dave, the owner there, he little story here. Pizza and Sub Shop has been feeding our football team our game day meals for the last handful of years. And our kids absolutely love them. He does a great job. One time he had, he's located on Summit, which is right next to the furniture store and Subway's there on the corner on Henry. And he, on his sign, he wrote, "Subway might feed the pros, but we feed the big reds." And I thought that was really neat. He's always been great to us, and I really think you guys should go check him out. So today, what we did is we went to the Pizza and Sub Shop, and I got a little token. Come on, you know how we do it. We can't just talk about it, right, Chauncey? We got to be about it. So what we got, now it comes in this nice little container. It came in like paper with the number on it. I personally, I'm a sucker for a good pizza sub. I am who I am. A good pizza sub with the right amount of fixins. I'm not at the flavor station right now. I'm in my office, but we're going to do the remote lesson here. So what you do is you crack this thing open. It's cut in half. I can barely talk like I'm salivating right now. You get this nice little layer of all the pizza goodness, okay? I get the pepperoni, sausage, your tomato sauce, green peppers, mushrooms, like all of the things that that define it as delicious if you were to look it up in the thesaurus in your local dictionary. We're going to take a little bite here. Chauncey, why don't you talk about the sub that you got?
I got the chicken fajita. and it got the cheese on it, got the lettuce, tomatoes. It just smells good again. Like I said, I know I had the Chipotle last time. Chicken fajita. I mean, they make good subs. I'll tell you that.
Not the Chipotle.
Homemade. I can't wait to bite into it and savor the flavor. What you gonna say, Paul?
Well, I don't fool with Chipotle. I don't even know what Chipotle is, let alone put it on food. But Brent very graciously took our orders and shuttled himself over and shuttled back the sandwiches. And I got the vegetarian sub, because I'm trying to be a better me. Chauncey already knows that I have a huge propensity to order things with lots of swine and mayonnaise. Well, I stayed strong. I'm trying to be that better me. I'm trying to be committed to my goals. And I got the vegetarian sub, and I'm going to have to take a little sample while Brent clears his mouth and wraps up our segment.
I got to tell you, the sausage on this thing is unbelievable. Like, they don't just use the run of the mill. Like, it's got a nice mix of sage. I'm telling you, this pizza sub, it ain't bad. It ain't bad. Along with the other subs that they have 28 different subs, super imaginable. They're all good. And if you go in there, typically they have like a sub of the day. I know the prime rib subs, like their big thing. Pizza, salads, all kinds of stuff. Support these guys. Pizza and Sub Shop. Call, order. It's ready in about 10, 15 minutes. And they do a wonderful job, and they serve wonderful food, and they're wonderful people. So I'm excited to do this today. Dave's been a big part of our journey. Pizza Sub Shop's been a big part of our journey. I mean, you're talking about weekend games. Okay, we play 1 o'clock. We eat at 9:30 a.m. They're not open yet. So he'd come in, he'd open it up, and he packs to-goes for he's unbelievable. So support the people that support us and do well in the community. So Pizza and Sub Shop, you get a couple big red thumbs up, and hats off to you.
Before, I know that we're running out of time because we have interviews at 1 o'clock, but I can't hit the leave or end button without saying this. Chauncey went above and beyond like he always does. Chauncey's 125%, not 100% guy. That's just how he's built. He brought us houseplant juice. He went over to Health Hut and got us all a bottle of houseplant juice. You want to tell us a little bit about your houseplant juice?
Hey, you gotta wash down the good stuff. So we were in Paul's office, and he has a aloe vera plant right in the back. And I said, "Oh, you can drink that." So you can't drink the actual plant. We were looking at the plant, like we could drink the plant. I said, "No, they got a juice. It's like they call it Twist, or and they got aloe vera in it. You can drink aloe vera." I said, "It tastes good." So then I give up our team, everybody on our team one. Everybody looking at it like Chauncey trying to kill us.
With some houseplant.
I did ask him, like, is this a good drink or a bad drink? Or I tell you what, I cracked it open on the way back to the office. Yeah. I couldn't hesitate. It's aloe vera. I was like, well, I use that for sunburn. I was a little confused.
Look, when I gave it Brent, when I gave it to Luke, you looked at me like a football coach. I ain't running that play. Like, here you go. He was like, yeah, okay, I'll take it. I'm glad you drank.
And I was like, gee whiz, Ma, this isn't my usual Kool-Aid. I only drink grape.
Or look, what that say? That purple stuff. That drink.
Purple drink.
It's good. It's good. It's really good. Like, and and Chauncey, I appreciate the fact you're working on me. I brought in a burger and fries first time, and then Paul brought in a bologna sandwich, and now I've got a pizza sub. So you're trying to help me up. I appreciate it. You're working on me. That's love. That's love right there.
We all look, it's MCEC Fam. That's what we do around here. We add to each other, make each other better, and we all brothers in this game, and we just trying to reach out to our community and be the you know how we do to be the transplants. And if we're gonna jump in their screen, knock on their door, we with them everywhere we go.
All right, so I guess Chauncey just about took us home, but Tom, do you want to close us out and take us home?
We were all one big SEL lesson today, weren't we? So I appreciate it, but Chauncey, you got to give the little tagline at the end.
The tagline at the end.
Yep,
that's true.
I got the Rick Ross ready for us.
We got to go to work.
All right. Thank you. That's another show, everybody. That's MCEC Fam, where there's a Muskegon Community Center, Educational Center, where your child's education is magnified with collaborating community. That sandwich is so good. I'm trying to get the taste buds out. That's what I'm tasting. See you later, everybody.
All right, y'all. Have a happy holiday.
Merry Christmas.